Welcome to video 4 in address parsing. In this video, I will show you how to further interpret some of the various parsing flags, including the incomplete data flag and the character flag, after running the tool for the second time. If you are watching these videos in sequence, you will recall in the previous video we set up the tool with the appropriate parameters, ran it, and used the parse error flags to identify addresses that couldn't be parsed and made the necessary corrections. We also looked at the extraneous data flag and removed the information that was inappropriate for a full address field. Picking up there, we have the tool all set to run for the second time. All the parameters are the same as before, except we will be running this tool over the parcel samples underscore processed one feature class, since this is where we made the corrections in the full address field. Our new output class will now be named parcel samples process 2. Go ahead and click OK to run the tool. Alright, the tool is complete. So again, we will take a look at this feature class in ArcMap and see what the two additional flag fields identify as issues we will want to address. Before looking at the new flag fields that we didn't look at before, it makes sense to double check the parse error flag field and the extraneous data flag field just to make sure we corrected everything that we needed to after the previous parse. As you can see here, we have no number ones indicating a problem with parsing. And the extraneous data flag field is empty, so that's great. Okay, now let's take a look at the additional flag fields and make corrections where necessary. To do this, we will start an editing session. First, we'll take a look at the character flag field. This field identifies instances of special characters existing. In our case, we see 7 character flags existing. As you remember if you watched video 1, Learn About Addresses, in most cases, hyphens, pound signs, forward and backward slashes are not acceptable components of an address. See the address reference guide for acceptable cases. Now that we've sorted these, we can get a look at all these flags together and see where we need to make corrections in the site address field. I'm going to go ahead and drag my full site address field over a little bit closer. So this first instance, we have a forward slash. In this case, the half you can see here in the full address is actually an address number suffix component. This is an acceptable case of a slash being included in an address, so we'll just skip that one. The second case here of a forward slash is actually separating two different street names, Howell Lane and Hood Avenue. This is not an acceptable case of a forward slash existing, so we'll go ahead and remove the second street name. The third, fourth, and fifth cases here all show pound signs existing in the address. These are allowed because they're actually indicating unit IDs. In this case, unit ID 20, unit ID 4, and unit ID 6. So we can just skip right over those. The sixth instance here with a hyphen is not allowed because it's actually indicating part of an address range. So in this case, we'll go ahead and just remove the hyphen 40 from the full address. The seventh instance here of a hyphen actually is allowed because it's indicating numerous units existing within the same site address, 1-4. So in this case, that is acceptable and we will just leave it alone. Now we'll look at the incomplete data flag field, which can be seen here. This field can help identify records that appear to be missing one or more of the essential street address elements. Let's go ahead and sort this so we get all the flags at the top. For the first record, It appears to be indicating that this record has no street name or street type. By looking at the full address, we can see that it is indeed missing a street type. In this case, if we are able to identify what that missing street type is, you can add it. The second case is highlighting the exact same thing, a missing street name or street type. In this case, goldenrod is actually missing the street type as well. If we know what that is, we can go ahead and add it. The third instance, Howell Lane, is actually indicating that there is a missing address number. If we are able to identify what the address number for this is, we can go ahead and add it here. It's optimal for the person completing this parse to try and determine and add missing elements if at all possible. If you are unable to confirm and identify the correct element, it's okay to skip for the time being. Alright, after making those necessary corrections, we're going to go ahead and save our edits and end this editing session. I'm now going to close ArcMap, navigate back to ArcCatalog, and set up the Parse tool to run one more time. This is intended to be a cyclical process and may be repeated as many times as necessary to get the desired results of eliminating all flags and parse errors.